In an effort to save money, a young family decided to hitchhike, and they fell into the hands of a crazy black market trader.
What do you want from me?
I need you to be one of the quiet ones.
Melina wakes up in the trunk. She slowly opens the trunk and tries to get out. There is a bag of bloody things next to the car. A man appears in the distance, walking in the direction of the car. Suddenly, a cell phone rings. Melina picks up the cell phone as quickly as possible. The man doesn't even notice that Melina is no longer asleep. He takes a bottle of alcohol from the trunk, and Melina notices that the man has a gun. After taking a couple sips, he closes the trunk. A message arrives on her phone from Monet's sister. Melina tries to call her boyfriend Enno, but he doesn't pick up. Melina notices Enno's hat next to her. She has a panic attack and tries to open the trunk. Her hands slip off the lid. Then Melina rests her back on the lid. Just as suddenly, Mona calls. Melina explains that she has been kidnapped and she doesn't know where Enno is. However, Monet thinks that Melina is just joking. Melina hangs up the phone and dials the emergency number. It is at this moment that the connection drops. Her legs are completely immobile. She's feeling the bones for possible fractures, but all her legs are intact. There's no sensation at all, right down to the spinal canal. A strange tattoo of the number 6 appears on her arm. Melina notices a flashing red light. There is a small camera on the far side of the trunk. On it were videos of a lakeside vacation with Enno. They didn't have any money, so they tried to find a hitchhiker. An unknown man picked up the duo, but took them in a completely different direction. He started beating Enno and asked Melina to drink the contents of the bottle. She has to take a couple of sips, after which she passes out. The video clearly shows the face of the kidnapper. Melina takes a picture and sends the geolocation to Mona, but there's still no connection on the phone. Mona jokingly throws down a few ways to escape from the trunk. First, they suggest opening the lock. If the lock doesn't open, there may be an internal opening device in the trunk. If the first 2 points did not help, the taillights should be pulled out or disconnected. Even if this doesn't help get out, it will increase the chances of the car being pulled over by police officers. Once communication is restored, the girl gets a call from her father. She picks up the phone and is asked to hold on for a while. Melina then immediately calls security and explains that she has been kidnapped. The employee asks a few questions, then asks to wait while he collects other data. They manage to find the area from where the call was completely from. Melina opens Google Maps and explains where they are now driving and what the car looks like. Her father receives a letter with a ransom offer of 250,000 euros. She sends her father a picture of the kidnapper and asks him to call the police, but the father refuses to do so. The letter says that if he goes to the police, Melina will be killed. With the help of a mirror, she notices a bleeding wound, but there was a lighter in the trunk that could be used to cauterize the wound. The wound was too big. Suddenly the car stops. The man says this will be the last time he catches people, but he's gonna get the left kidney. The cell phone's nearing 60% power to dull the pain. She turns on Enno's voicemail, and she stitches up the wound with a shoelace. An emergency worker called. Melina says she's probably dead by 4:30 in the morning. The sensitivity in her legs is slowly being restored, but it's unlikely to help. The worker explains that now that they don't have many cars available, there's only 2 patrols looking for her. Turns out the internet is not working well because there is no money in the account. Melina tries to recharge the number, but the data won't load. The car stops again. The kidnapper gets out of the car. She notices gasoline pouring into the gas tank. Melina tries to call for help, but the trunk is opened not by the savior, but by the same kidnapper. He is very interested in how she woke up. He asks the girl to sit quietly. Her screaming won't change anything. That tag means he wants her alive. Turns out the car is parked in front of a surveillance camera. The man assures the girl it won't do her any good. Then he closes the trunk. So that no one can hear the girl, he turns on loud music. There's a message on her phone from Enno. He says he's being followed, but he's gonna try to save her. Her father recognized the man in the photo. He visited him at the hospital a week or 2 weeks ago. The father is convinced Gabriele's family is behind the kidnapping. On the day of the botched operation, Melina tried to save the girl, but she died. The father thinks her family wants revenge. Special services are going to set up roadblocks on the road. Melina decides to see what's underneath the paneling. There are bugs crawling everywhere. This scares the girl and she closes the hatch. Melina remembers that in the trunks there is a mirror with its help. She looks into the compartment and takes out an iron pipe. There are 40 minutes left before the kidnappers arrive. The girl knocks out the lamp. You can stick your hand in the resulting hole and drink rainwater. Cars drive by. The driver notices the girl and tries to approach the car, but the kidnapper backs up and knocks the man down. Then he drives into the oncoming lane and miraculously avoids an accident. The father sends a voicemail, but there's no way to listen to it. The car has crossed the border, and now the father's number is no longer valid. Melina loses hope for salvation. A little later, she breaks the mirror and sticks the shard through the hole. Melina manages to see the license plate number, and so as not to forget, she writes it down on the trunk lid. A call comes in on the phone. Enno tells them that they have been kidnapped by the family of the dead girl. He, like Melina, is stuck in the car. Enno makes it clear that the only way to save their lives is to pay the ransom. A couple minutes later, a police officer calls. The father will pay the ransom. However, the kidnappers have not yet responded. Investigators learned that the letter was sent through an anonymous website, but they are obligated to provide information upon police request. We have to wait for a response and find out who's behind the kidnapping. Remembering the conversation with Enno, Melina decides not to tell the license plate number. A couple of minutes later, they stop at a checkpoint. A girl comes out of the booth and asks the driver where he is going. Enno gets out of the car and shows his ID. The girl gives him permission to pass. The phone battery is almost dead. While looking at the photo, Melina notices another figure behind the kidnapper. Taking the video camera, she starts to re-watch the footage and literally loses her breath. A call comes in from a police officer. They have managed to find their car and are now rushing to her aid. The girl asks for the number from which the ransom note was sent, and that's where it all comes together. Enno cooperates with the kidnapper. A horn sounds. The car is on the ferry. The police didn't have time to stop the car. Maybe they can circle the lake and catch the kidnapper. The kidnapper comes up to the car and tells them not to run, not until the phone's battery is dead. She asks Enno to tell the truth. He's sorry. Things were supposed to be different. Enno only wants the money, and then Melina was supposed to be released. But the bandits took her kidney for some reason. She asks if Enno lied about loving her. He swears he loves her, but the debt was too great and he had no choice. And the fact that she lost her kidney is not his fault. The girl explains that she can collect the entire family fortune, and he'll get that money, but he needs to save her life. Enno refuses, because if he tries to save her, they'll kill him too. A little later, the car starts, and they continue on their way. Melina comes up with a new plan, to take a picture of her sister and send it to Enno. He instantly calls the phone. She manages to convince Enno that the snapshot is real. He turns his gaze to the driver and begins to come up with a plan of what to do. Enno offers to give more money. The driver refuses, it's too late. The girl saw his face. Enno notices the knife and realizes it's the only way out. He slowly lowers his arm and prepares to attack the driver. Melina notices that the battery is at 2%. Suddenly the car crashes into something. A man approaches the trunk. It turns out to be Enno, but no sooner have they said a word. Enno is hit by a bullet. With his last strength, he apologizes for what he did. The driver turns up alive. He notices that Melina had the phone all along. Throwing the phone away, the man closes the trunk. Melina removes the ring and tosses it into the corner. The ring falls through a crack and falls onto the road. She realizes that she still has a chance at salvation. First, she cuts off the entire trunk liner, and into the hole, she puts an iron stick, which she uses to punch out the tire. The car blows up. The trunk starts to fill with water, but Melina manages to dislodge the grate and get to the surface of the lake. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment. See you very soon. Bye.